Welcome to the Red Pill Awareness Needed Conversation for Men podcast. I am one of your hosts, Herb. I am here with my other host and my brother,
Jason D.
We are back with another show. We are actually here because we're gonna critique a controversial political woman by the name of Candice Owens. She was on the Roommates podcast some weeks back, say about 3-4 weeks now at this point. She explains her issue with Cardi B and a lot of mainstream stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you from the door, Jay and I are not huge fans of Candice Owens. No. Her political stuff, no. She's a very conservative black woman, and she's actually part of this growing movement of a lot of conservative blacks. We have, a very, very right view of certain things.
Basically, dollars and policy over human lives.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And that's my biggest problem with her. Like, she supports a lot of the racist regime that's in place because their policies will work out for them economically. I don't give a shit about your economic policies when people that look like me are being poached, and that's my main problem with her.
Right.
But with that being said, when Herb told me about some of the views she had on a lot of the mainstream hip hop, and I'm a huge hip hop head, I agree with her. And it kind of hurts to say that, but because I'm a person that is able to keep my mind open, even if I think you're an asshole, I can still learn from an asshole.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll keep an open mind and watch this video and see what she says, because we got the same beef with this mainstream thing. And before you come for me, you can do it if you want to, but time and place.
And specifically, the WAP performance on the Grammys. There we go, the Grammys. And then the other thing she talks about is her biggest issue with a lot of modern women today. And again, we are not fans of her, but I'm going to tell you straight up. When someone makes a valid point, I'm going to acknowledge they make a valid point. And just a little bit of background. Cardi has been kind of going at Candice a few times over I would say the last year or so. Because on a lot of Candice Owen shows, what tends to happen is they ask for her opinion about certain stuff that goes on, and she actually explains this in the video. And then, of course, you have people like Cardi, or people bring it to Cardi's attention, and what tends to happen is Cardi, pushes back. And a lot of times, Candice is not even really trying to pick a fight or whatever, because that's not really her arena. However, she has an opinion, she gives her opinion, she's paid to give her opinion. And sometimes it's not the most popular opinion in the world. However, as you'll see, sometimes you gotta give credit where credit is due. On that note, let's start the video.
Okay, so let's actually kind of reset the narrative here, because first and foremost, people made it seem like I woke up one day and was like, let's just attack Cardi B.
Okay.
Here is what the left does, and Ben Shapiro spells this out really well, right? It's really gaslighting, right?
Okay.
They do something that is so absurd and so extreme that any rational human being is going to comment on it, right? So it's not like Cardi B just walking down the street trying to buy a Starbucks, and here comes Candice Owens commenting, how could Cardi B buy a coffee, right? You get on stage at the Grammys. Traditionally, the Grammys is a friendly family type program that we can all sit around and watch. Maybe a couple of things are a little like, ooh, that might have been a little inappropriate. But you don't watch the Grammys and see two women half naked grinding their vaginas on each other. That's not what you see for the Grammys, right?
She wants to get clicks because she wants
Like, by the time you've seen this, the Grammys have obviously passed.
Right.
Right. I mentioned this to a few people in some of the black nerd groups I'm in on Facebook. Yes, Facebook, I'm still on it. And they really tried to defend that. But HB, I said, they should not be able to do that anywhere. Like she said, and it really pains me to agree with her because I don't like her. The Grammys are a family-friendly event. That's not negotiable. Well, they allowed it. They allow a lot of things to happen. But that's the Grammys is where I saw Michael Jackson do the moonwalk for the first time.
Right. How about
That's how family friendly that program's supposed to be. Now we got two chicks on here pushing that over sexualized agenda. Yes, I said it. To children, because children watch the Grammys and the Emmys and the Oscars and the Tonys. Am I saying something invalid?
No.
And those programs, ironically, are rated E for everyone because this is network TV. This is not HBO. This is not Showtime. This is not Skinamax. This is not FX After Dark. This is regular, you get it free TV. which is supposed to be openly friendly.
Mostly family
The
television.
same network they used to show the Muppets on is now showing WAP shit. And how dare we speak on it because it's fucking inappropriate.
Hey, listen, I'm
It is.
gonna keep it
And the
100,
kicker
y'all.
is Cardi doesn't let her daughter listen to her own music.
Yeah.
Peep game.
Now listen,
But she's letting your daughter do that shit. Okay.
Now I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
I'm laughing because I'm gonna say this. Listen, I'm of two minds of this. Now, as the adult, you know, as the adult part of me, the perverted adult part of me, I have no problem with the song.
No.
I have no problem with the performance.
No.
Goddamn, the performance. Listen, if you haven't seen it by now, look for that motherfucker on YouTube.
I sound like a dirty old man.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
However.
Splendid.
Yeah, right.
Like
Mr. Burns.
dirty black Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Burns right now, man.
Yes.
Yes. Smithers, send in the hose.
Right. Fuck the hounds. Give me the hose. Fuck the hounds.
Oh,
However, what she's saying, I actually 100% agree with in the fact that, that performance probably played like 8, 9 o'clock. On a Sunday, I believe it was.
It doesn't matter
Hold
what
on,
time, brother. There's no after dark on network TV.
I'm not saying it.
I know.
Because,
I'm just saying it's like.
But the reality is that shit should only been that should never been on the Grammys. That's period. That performance should not have been on the Grammys. It could have been any fucking place else. Not the Grammys, fam. Not the Grammys.
And I feel cheated because, okay, they can do it, but when I was a young boy and I wanted Too Loud Crew to perform, I would have loved to see that.
Listen,
no.
We in a whole different area, but
it's the same thing.
No, I mean as far as what's
allowed, what's not, right.
So I mean, I'm just saying, like, the reality is that, she has a valid point, and I mean, and I'm not a conservative, and I just like if me and my daughter watching the Grammys, right, and that shit pop up.
How old's my goddaughter?
Mike could be 16 in June, bro. Like so. I mean, granted, she old enough. She knows the song. She understands the song. But however, I don't want to sit there with my 16-year-old watching the performance of chicks grinding in the bed talking about wet ass pussy.
I'm laughing at the level of awkwardness that will cause between
Bro, listen, and I've had some awkward moments with my child.
Oh yeah.
But at the very least, I'm not just going to put my head deep into the awkward
shit.
Those
awkward moments popped up randomly.
Naturally and randomly.
You didn't put 2 feet in the awkward pool.
Listen,
this is nice.
The moment they announced the song, I know the awkwardness is about to fucking happen. You know what I mean?
We don't even know where the remote control would come from. You know what I'm saying? Her would find it. It was just manifest, like Loki's spear.
Listen, I'm going to have some powers there, like remotes here.
Like Thor's hammer?
Yes.
We gotta learn the effect. We can do that in production.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying. So yeah, man. Like I feel her in this completely. Granted, I enjoy the fuck. I'm never going to bitch about that fucking.
It's not the song.
It's
or the performance.
No.
But we agree it wasn't the right form, and there's no leg you can stand.
They should have just said the work goes to WAP. And then that's it. On to the next performance.
The network knew it would cause hysteria. And they knew what they were doing. The same way they knew about the and this is ancient history right now. They knew what was going to happen with the Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson Titty thing. They knew that before it happened. That's why nobody went to jail. All the fines they said they were going to impose on people, nobody got fined for it because they knew what was going to happen. Everything gets approved on TV. They knew it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm not a conservative, but I gotta
agree. Continue.
Yeah, continue, bro.
She does this because she wants to get clicks, because she wants people to comment. This is what people do. It's like, we can also similarly down the line talk about Lil Nas X, right? Mm-hmm. You're not grinding on Satan half naked because you don't want people to comment. They do these things for attention. And then when you give them attention, they go, oh, how dare you even look at what is wrong with you? You're obsessed with me. It's like, no, you did this because you want people to comment. Now, when I made the comment, it was on Tucker Carlson's show on Fox News. I don't pick the topics on Fox News. It's not my show. So I do religiously every Monday. I go on Tucker Carlson, right? They send me the topics a few hours before the show, and I give my opinion. So just like everybody else in the world was commenting on this absurd performance that she wanted everybody to comment.
That shit wasn't absurd. It was entertaining.
Stop. The placement of said performance was absurd.
I'm not arguing that point. She said the performance was absurd.
Well, come on, man. Who are you talking to? Clay, dirty old man. My goodness. You went in rare form today.
On. I gave my opinion on it, which is that it was degenerate. For whatever reason, in the midst of everybody else commenting, she focused on me and this 1 minute, segment on Fox News, and it upset her. So there's something about me particularly that gets under Cardi B's skin. Okay. So she then was tweeting about it for 12 hours before I responded and was like, all right, yes, I said that. And then we went at it. So it's not really about Cardi B, and I think that there's a lot of things to appreciate about Cardi B, and I've talked about them in the past, and she doesn't hear that stuff. But right now, she's the person that's doing the most because she wants the clicks. She's the person that they're naming as Woman of the Year, so I offer commentary on someone of her nature being deemed Woman of the Year. And, she happened to be the person that decided to, at the Grammys, put on a degenerate performance. So she got everyone's attention, including my own.
Yeah, I agree with her again, man.
That wasn't degenerate. It was great.
Shut up, pervert. It was great though. I'm an ass man, so I was in heaven. I have to agree with her. When you say Woman of the Year.
Yeah, right? What the fuck was that?
Excuse me. The same way I don't feel like Bruce Jenner, and yes, I said it correctly, Bruce Jenner doesn't deserve to be Woman of the Year.
Yeah, she did win that shit.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Cardi deserves it. Like, what has she done?
What's the criteria?
You're putting her up there with Gandhi, and even though I don't really fuck with her like that, Oprah, and Bill Gates, and the president of Apple, and the president of Google. You're putting her all with really, really great, and Nelson Mandela, and Denzel Washington, and people that actually do like major leagues things. And like, what have you done to deserve that award?
She did WAP.
Besides sell a lot of records.
She did WAP.
In an overly sexualized category of hip-hop.
Yeah.
And it's not me attacking. I'm asking the question. Comment below. What has she done besides that? Because I remember her saying that what she used to do, which inspired hip-hop, used to get dudes drunk and run their pockets.
And listen, even though I'm having fun, I'm going to keep it winding with y'all going to, because what I'm about to say, some women not going to like. Please do not tell me Cardi B represents women empowerment and control of their own bodies and all this other blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't. Sorry, I don't. Because
if she does, her daughter would be allowed to listen to it.
Right.
And her daughter is not used to it. It's like you sell a bulletproof vest, but you don't never wear one.
Because...
Can I try this out on you? No, don't put it on me, homie. Try it on your boy. But you sell these.
Because at the end of the day, it's not done out of empowerment. Exactly. Because let's be honest for a minute here, all right? Back in our generation, we had plenty of women hip-hop artists that didn't do these things. You know what I mean? And their music was still being played. They were still making money. They were still making hit records.
Grammy winners?
Exactly. You know what I mean? But the reality is that we are in an age where those things are no longer viable. Period. And
you know what makes it viable and unviable? You,
right.
the fans. Right. You know who controls hip-hop? Who controls what hip-hop sucks and doesn't suck? You, the fans.
Yes.
See, I know that. I know that hip-hop got messed up when it went from the streets to the boardroom. But the boardroom still can't make no moves if you don't decide it's hot. But y'all forget that. A lot of y'all forget that what determines what's hot in hip-hop is the fucking fans.
Indeed.
Because the minute you get labeled garbage, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. That's it.
And the reality is that this shit is not women empowerment. Women empowerment to me is being able to become a CEO of your own company or a CEO of a major company, where now you're creating more opportunities. You're doing more things to make women feel important. Hell, y'all know, I talk about my daughter all the time. I'm a father. So I teach women empowerment to my daughter. Her mother enforced that in her all the time. That shit is not fucking women empowerment. I'm sorry. You can try it. You try and make that argument if you want to. I'm here for it. But there's nothing you're going to say other than having a choice. But do you really have a choice? Because let's just say if Cardi came out and she was just rhyming. Do you really think Cardi she's really has a choice to make the kind of music that she would want to without looking that way, without acting that way?
Because I can think of one of my favorite artists that doesn't do the same thing, that would probably out-rhyme her under the table. And that shout out to Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Bars for days. And how do I know? She stands on the same stage as a Nas and a Black Thought. Arguably two of one of the best MCs ever living.
But she's not in the Grammys.
And she holds her own because she's not in that dynamic.
Right, she's not in the Grammys.
You know what I mean? There's a huge difference in mainstream hip hop and underground hip hop. And I'm not.
That's where it is now.
If that's your hustle, that's your hustle. But like my man said, calling it empowering when it's mostly adult-based content. Those are two different things. Like they're not. There's not going to be an introductory course to getting in OnlyFans and showing your ass and your titties in grade school no time soon, because that's an adult-oriented lane of making money, and I'm not knocking that. But don't act like that's a great thing for all age groups. You can't. Come on, man, stop it.
It's the same argument as I've heard when people sit there and say, why do people look at OnlyFans as like as a bad thing, or it's only for this and that? Because here's the reason. Here's the reality. Well, OnlyFans, the majority of people that make money on OnlyFans is women on there that's doing the same shit they're doing in porn. No, not everybody on OnlyFans is fucking and sucking and doing all kinds of weird shit.
But that ratio, it's like 97 to 3.
And here's the funny thing. Those people that want to make that argument, if you actually dig deep enough, OnlyFans gives you statistics to tell you and show you where the majority of the revenue is coming from. So my only issue is, if you want to do certain shit, just call it what it is. Don't try and make it something more than what it is. Don't try and make it something more positive or whatever the case may be. Just call it what the fuck it is. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. So, let's continue.
Okay, so that makes sense. So basically what you're saying is that part of your job is you critique culture like most people do. Everybody does it on the right and the left. And so this was the Grammys is a national event. Everybody watches it. Everyone's going to have their take on it per se. So basically you were just offering your personal critique on a situation. Yeah. And so I guess one of the things that maybe people were misinterpreting is that you were communicating what kind of music you think Cardi B should be allowed or not allowed to perform. So that's not what you're saying. You're saying that you're not trying to be the music police per se, but you're just offering your opinion on someone's piece of art.
And somebody who wanted an opinion. So like case in point, I know how to get, right now, if I wanted every single person to watch this podcast, if I jumped on the stage, got half naked and started humping your mic, do you think that it would drum up some conversation?
It probably would.
Just a little bit of conversation. And then imagine if everybody who starts talking about it, then I go, oh, what's wrong with those people? Why can't I just express myself as a black woman who wants to hump a mic? Yeah. I mean, that's what Cardi B does, right? Like, and so it's not fair to then say, Candice, why are you commenting on this? Why don't you ask her why can't she just perform like a normal human being? Okay. Perform your song. I disagree with the song entirely. Yeah. The song is so inappropriate, she can't even perform the song in its true lyrics. She has to change the lyrics to perform her own song. But of course, I'm going to offer commentary on that when that commentary is asked of me. I did not attack her randomly in a Twitter thing. It was asked of me on a Tucker Carlson show.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So I guess one of the points I've heard in regards to sometimes conservative commentators is that a lot of times they ask for government not to be so hands-on in regards to religious life, in regards to personal life, in regards to things like that. But then when it comes to some of the apparent critiques of culture, it seems as though they want to sometimes be the moral police and to be able to tell people what kind of art they can or cannot create. What are some of your thoughts on individuals who kind of say that it appears at times to be hypocritical to want the government out of everything, but then you want to be in other people's music, art, and also their personal behaviors?
Because it's completely unrelated. Nobody asked for the government to come sanction Cardi B. Nobody asked for the government to get involved in asking her not to throw her WAP all over a stage.
Wait.
Shots fired. Shot. Officer down. Shot
fired. Yo. Listen.
Yeah.
Candice.
This is my first time seeing this video. It really pains me to agree with her.
Right.
I have never consecutively agreed with anything that Miss Owens has said until this very day. I purposely did not watch this video until my brother and I can sit down and watch it because he knows how I feel about her political views. So this is a really weird time for me.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm in a support group right now, but
I mean,
it's just weird.
But listen, man, I give credit. I'm a very open-minded brother, man. I give credit where credit is due. Listen, what she's saying, what she's spitting is facts right now. On a very, very strong level, it's facts. You know what I mean? I agree with her. No, This is not a government issue. She's completely right. It's gonna do a government. Yes, is a certain level of a morality involved with this shit. Okay, let's just call it what it is. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, certain things. You know what? I'm not even gonna say that. I want her to explain. Let's hit play. Because she goes exactly where I was about to go.
We asked her as an individual to make a better decision, right? We asked the people that are running the Grammys to say, you know what, this is actually not appropriate for children. This is not appropriate content. I don't have an issue with the fact that there are, pornographic actresses who literally have sex for a living on screen, right? If that's what you want to do with your life, that's totally fine. But I know that you have to go to a website specifically for that. And it's not going to be on ABC Family or, where's the Grammy? I think it's on ABC, right? It's not going to,
I believe so. I couldn't tell you.
I think it's on ABC, right? So it's not going to be on ABC during the Grammys, right? There's a time and a place for everything, and that was neither the time or the place. And what I was commenting on, again, not asking for the government to get involved, was just that it's the irony of just Black America persistently, saying over and over again, white supremacy is what's killing Black America. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Well, look at our values right now. Look at our values when you have this. This is what young girls are seeing. And I do not accept, and I want to say this, make this very clear, when people say, well, you need to be responsible for your kids. That is such a cowardice cop-out, in my opinion.
I hate that.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Her, man. Like, this is killing me, bro.
That's why
this is something that I've observed throughout my travels, man. And I'm not saying all of us are like this, man, but our morals and our values as a people a lot of times are very fucked up. And if you really want to gauge a generation's values and morals, you look at the art that they flock to, you look at the media that they flock to. And if most of what's popular right now, or what the fuck's that lit right now? I kind of hate that fucking terminology. Is detrimental and ignorant and lewd and, really, really X-rated and adult-oriented. That's a problem. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you need to watch your kids, but you as hip-hop fans out there, I can't emphasize this enough. With all this shit going on with our people, you mean to tell me only 3 or 4 MCs got something to say about the world we live in, man? We're being hunted. We're being persecuted, man. We're praying for a guilty verdict in an open and shut case.
Right.
And all you got to talk about is fucking drugs and pussy? That's it? And when someone says that, although someone I don't generally agree with says that, you get mad at her. And I can't believe I'm actually fucking defending her. It's just like, pigs are flying. I need to play the lottery right now. But she makes a point. Because a lot of us are really, really, for lack of a better word, really in a fucked up place right now. Our younger kids are more depressed now, more stressed out now, have more anxiety now because of what they flock to. And what they aspire to be is not real. Half them dudes that are in these hip-hops are college graduates that know how to milk the market. They ain't thugs. That's just my 2 cents. But I can't believe I'm saying this. She's making a valid point on the level of culture that we at right now. For real, when you think about it, she is.
And I'm going to wait till she gets to the part that I was about to speak on before I speak, because it ties into what you said also.
Okay.
But I just want to say, audience, understand. When I told Jay that we were going to do this, he looked at me sideways like, Candice Owens, the fuck? Listen, she's spitting facts.
Okay. It is the ultimate cowardice cop-out, because as a parent, especially now I'm a parent now, there's no way that you can keep your eyes on your kids every second of every day, right? Right now, just breastfed my baby, left the house. There's a babysitter watching. I don't know if that babysitter's on Instagram. Obviously, my baby is not, he's 10 weeks old. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. Your kids go off to school. The kids around them have Instagram, have things that they can show them. So don't pretend that it is just the fault of the parent in terms of producing a child. It's not. We have entire systems, 6 hours a day, they're given to schools, right? So it's such a cop-out. We have to do better as individuals to make sure that the values that we're instilling in children all across society are better. So Cardi B, tell your kids not to listen to me. Stop that. That's a cop-out.
Cool. No, I like that. And so I guess my question to that would be, you made a point about values and instilling good values in children. I think the problem sometimes when you have this postmodernist world is that everybody's values are different. So for example, like you have your personal values that you believe are healthy, you believe are beneficial for not only for your children, but also for people in America. But then you have people who, let's say, are on the left who have their personal values that believe they personally believe are beneficial for their children and also for the whole of America. So then who's allowed to project their values as the standard for children to follow? Because as equally as you can argue that your values should be projected, they can argue that there should be as well. So
how many people in society do you think agree that pornography is a good value? Let's be realistic. Like, you can always do the neo-Marxist, let's go down. Well, who then decides? But we know. How many people in society think that grinding on Satan half naked, right, is a good value to have for children?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well,
because this is kind of, and you're asking good questions, by the way, but this is what Marxists do, is that they try to pretend that everything is subjective and there is no objectivity to things, right?
Yeah.
There is objective reality, right? Every single person watching this podcast, every single person throughout society, every single person in the world knows that pornography, right, and children, it's not a good value to instill in children, that pornography and being nude, it's just not a good value. They know that, right? Mm-hmm. But when you get caught doing something bad, you go, oh, well, who knows? Smoking crack. Whose idea was it that smoking crack was bad? Whose idea was it that grinding on a half naked was bad? We know. We just know.
Yeah.
So she's addressing something that I was about to address earlier, but I wanted to wait until she got here, which is the idea of certain things we know is just fucking right or wrong. Period. I don't care if you're left, right, whatever. And I agree with her in the sense that certain things we know is right or wrong. Okay. I'll just take her example with pornography. Okay. In a sense, pornography as in general, I don't think is wrong. However, do I want my 10-year-old to be knee deep in pornography? No. What she's saying is correct. That shit don't mix. That shit don't mix.
Actually illegal.
Yeah, but just
because it's been deemed illegal because it's morally wrong.
But let's just say
put that in front of a child. Like if you work in a daycare or in elementary school or in high school, and you're an adult and you're putting that on a TV screen, you're not gonna have your job.
Right. And so the point that she's making, which is a very valid point, is the fact that certain things we just know is fucking wrong. Period. There's some things that is gray. And there's some things that is just, they're not gray, okay? And going back to the whole, the WAP performance at the Grammys, I'm sorry. Like, that shit should not have been at dead slot. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to have young viewers watching that at that time slot, I wouldn't want my kid watching that. Mm-mm. That has nothing to do with left or right politics. It's just shit that I know is right or wrong. Period. So, and I think that's kind of the issue here. Sometimes people want to be such contrarians and just want to debate and be on a certain side or prove a point that certain things are just fucking morally wrong. Period. There's no gray in that. And that's a very valid point. And I think a lot of times, us as Americans now, we want so much fucking freedom that at the end of the day, we want that freedom so bad that we ignore certain things that are just straight up fucking morally wrong. Mm-hmm. Period. And that's a problem. You know what I mean? And
freedom is one thing, but doing something and absolutely rebuking the consequences is another thing.
Yeah.
You can technically say whatever you want to, but you can't technically say whatever you want to.
I mean, technically,
and that makes sense.
Right.
Like there are certain things I can't say in corporate America that I can say openly as a truck driver. Or I can say openly because I own my own business. When you are responsible for your own money, you have more freedom to say what you want, for the most part, than saying working in a workplace where you have supervisors and managers and assistant managers. It's just the way it is.
I mean, even if you got a lot of money and you have businesses and shit like
Still
that.
Can't say what you want to.
You're right. You say the wrong thing to the wrong person, that causes you to lose money.
Yeah. Papa John's.
Right.
Oops. Oops.
Right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, certain shit, we need to have a certain moral compass. A very basic moral compass. It ain't gotta be fucking perfect. It ain't gotta be like, oh, everything should be this way. But certain things you should just know in your brain, this shit don't feel right. Mm-hmm. This shit don't look right. And that's something that she's saying that is missing. I can't really argue that. I might not 100% agree with it, but I'm kind of like 75% there because it's a valid point. So anyway, continue.
Now, that makes perfect sense, and I think the challenge becomes that when it comes to explicit content for children, there is a clear understanding of, in regards to your 5-year-old daughter watching pornography, your son watch pornography. Like, there's certain things where 99% of people, unless you're one of the extreme people on the far left, who would agree that those things are unhealthy, right? But then when it comes to, let's say, what's displayed in the media, like, so for the Grammys, most people would consider the Grammys as an adult show. Some people would consider the Grammys.
I don't think what she did was appropriate for adults.
Okay.
Let me make that clear
Cool.
too. It's not appropriate for, I don't want to see that shit on my screen.
Of course.
Okay. So I don't think there is a single guy that can objectively tell me that they thought that was attractive.
Okay.
Did you find it to be sexy? Did
I
it turn you
didn't,
on?
but
I beg to differ.
You can't ask Hefe about this question. You can't ask.
I beg to differ. Yes. Sorry, Candice. You lost me there. Sorry.
Moving on.
I know a lot of people who might
No,
have.
you say might have,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
the truth is that the majority of people, this is just degeneracy on full display. And so I just cannot accept that the majority of people do not know that is degenerate, right? And here's the thing. When you talk about governing, you're supposed to be governing for the greatest good, right? Like, we are trying to accomplish the greater good. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some weirdo somewhere in a basement, right? Who's like, ooh, yeah, I love this. This is sexy. You know, I love seeing women do this on stage, and they're going to be into that. But the overwhelming majority knows it's wrong. And we've gotten to a place in society where we are ignoring the overwhelming majority and favoring the itty bitty minority who says, okay, but why not? And we have to stop doing that. That is how you literally destroy. And that's what I said on Fox News, is that we're seeing a corrosion of values because we keep catering to this minute minority.
And so to me, I think that I would share your views. I believe the majority of people, I think because we both come from Judeo-Christian background, we believe people are made in the image likeness of God. So there's a general sense in our spirits of what's right and what's wrong. But I can easily understand how some people who don't come from the background that we come from, people, you know, in those crazy leftist states such as like a Portland, or some people in LA, or, you know, different like Washington State, may not come to that realization that what's wrong with women liberation and expressing themselves and doing stuff like that.
Because they're learning that part, though.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows it's wrong. And here's how you can always challenge to see like that there's basic morality and weird things in society. Children are actually low-key savages, right? They're they will look at something and they'll say something out loud. Like, my parents tell me the story of when I was a kid. I think I might have told you this in the last podcast. I tell you about the fat guy in the elevator.
No, you didn't.
Worst scenario ever, right? Worst scenario ever, because I've always been like this. And if I see something, I just say it. I was 5 years old. This is back when, you know, my parents, we lived in the roach-infested apartment. So it was a tight little elevator.
Yeah.
My mom got the mail. We got into the elevator. Me, my mother, and my father. They tell me the story. And a huge overweight guy got in the elevator, and the door
I know
was
what
shut.
you're about to
You
do.
already know, right? Why do you already know?
Because I know you.
And you know, but you also know children.
Yeah.
Children don't know there's these rules.
Yeah.
You know, it's not nice. It's not polite. So children are always just so honest. It's like one of those.
Children are always.
I have a story that I'm going to take from Donald Glover's comedy. In agreement with what Miss Owen said, that he calls children tiny little Hitlers. He said he was walking by, and I guess one kid got mad at another kid for taking his ball and going home. Remember that fucking kid when you were little?
Yeah.
He was losing, so he took his ball and went home.
Yep.
So when he took his ball and went home, the other kid said, "That's why your mother's in a fucking wheelchair." Yo! That's an example of what a toddler can get away with, because he was saying, you can't say that at IKEA and keep your job.
No.
Like, you're done, dude. Your Swedish meatball sandwich program is done. Just take your health benefits and you're out of here, buddy.
Yeah, wow.
But he said that's when he learned that kids are tiny little Hitlers. And so they get that moral compass and that chill. But when they're young, they don't give a shit.
Listen, my daughter's filter is but you see,
Micah.
Yeah, you see Micah's filter sometimes. Micah just say stuff, and then her thing is like, yeah, I'm telling the truth though. I'll be like, but you
are, but you can't just fire off, kid. You can't.
Things where you're like, you just can't say that. And so my parents said they were just trying to pretend they didn't see me, and I was hitting my mom's leg, being like, Mom, Mom, you know, and they're, oh God, please no, Candice, this tight little elevator. And finally, eventually I just say, Mom, look, he's so fat. Why is he so fat, Mommy? Like, look at this man so fat. Truly amazed, innocent, going, this is so fat. That young, I'm acknowledging, right, that that's not normal.
Yeah.
That something's wrong here. Yeah. This guy's 300 plus pounds, you know, however big he was, and that guy is not normal. That's an abnormality. Today, if I went through the school system, they would tell me that that's fat acceptance, that the whole movement, being fat's okay. Yeah. If you have an issue with this, then it's, I would learn in school, you know, people that have an issue with it, they're bigots and they're wrong. A child really can tell you that something's off, that there's right and there's wrong. And yet we now have adults that are teaching children that there is no right and wrong. Everything's subjective. Everything's perception. It's not all perception. There are some objective truths, and we need to acknowledge them in order to have a more healthy society. Now,
God damn it, I gotta remember again. Fuck, man, she's killing me. She's making like so many consecutively good points that I agree with. Like this age of there's no longer right, and they have the right to choose, and even though they're 1 year old, she should make this life altering decision about his sexuality, and everybody gets a fucking trophy is insane to me. As my grandfather said, you building these cupcake ass kids to go out in the world.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's really, audience, it's really paining me to agree with her this much in a row. I'm gonna need a drink after this because this is messing me up.
Ooh, yeah.
Just had to say that.
It's not perfect, and sometimes there are moments where conservatives are just clutching their pearls, right? That expression of like, oh my gosh, I just couldn't bear to see this. Yeah, sometimes it is a little extreme, but what Cardi B did on that stage was not an extreme. It was a form of degeneracy, and everybody, no matter what side of the political aisle that you're on, the overwhelming majority of people knew that that was too far and that was too much.